English, মাঝে মাঝে অসমীয়া কম. Okay, I might start with the Sanskrit, thing. Thank you.
Okay, YouTube was live. I say we are live.
Okay. Ma'am, you can slideshow you can do, I think.
My introduction to Memor formally did you. So I just want to say that we are really very happy to inform that we have Dr. Shakuntala Choudhury ma'am with us today, who has a vast experience in data science area and statistics. And in this version of some artificial intelligence initiative technical lecture series. And she will also talk about the current trends in data science career and how data science can be used in health analytics. And Dr. Shakuntala Choudhury has a double master's degree in statistics and economics from Ohio University and a PhD in applied statistics from Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey, New Brunswick, and Quanti University. Currently, she is a senior senior director of data science for healthcare outcomes at Agadia Systems Inc, which is in New Jersey. And she is also an adjunct professor at William Patterson University, and they are working to take down the COVID-19 pandemic with an arsenal of mathematical and statistical reasonings. And she has had a long career in the US itself. She has retired from one of the telecommunication giants, AT&T, which is the American Telephone and Telegraph Company. And I think she has lived in the US for the last almost 40 years. And her corporate career span has 3 decades in the US. And interestingly, she is also the director of community affairs at FASS, which is Friends of Assam and Seven Sisters of USA. And I am so delighted to have our ma'am here. And thank you so much. And this was, just trying to do justice to all the work that you have done in the introduction, which is, I'm sure there is so much more that I have, that we all have missed out in the introduction. But I'll let you take over now, and we will get to know so much more about your work from your presentation today, and really looking forward to it. So I'll let you take over, ma'am.
Thank you. Namaskar. Namaste. Hope you can hear me. In a nutshell, I'm a data scientist, which is a combination of mathematical, statistical reasoning, statistical computing, and business acumen. I'm so delighted to be able to present to I. I means mother in Assam. And so I would like to say about the Sanskrit slok, Janani Janmabhumi Shargadupi Guryosi. So Assam is my motherland and USA is my working land. So I'm so delighted to be able to present to my land of Assam today a subject that is the talk of the day, which is artificial intelligence and machine learning. We live in an economy which is algorithm driven. So this AI ML is so important to develop in various fields, from healthcare all the way to law policy making. So I will talk about that. And after that, if there's any questions, we can do a Q&A. And I'm so delighted and thank you of Shishir for inviting me. He is in a very good position with speech recognition, data science. And that's one of the most important things right now, which is needed across industries, because we have call centers around the world. So having said that, am going to open up my slide, and it will be about data science, which you all know, but for the mass education. So knowledge is not to be contained, it needs to be propagated to the mass communication, like Bhupen Hazarika used to say. So I am going to talk in very low level without any statistical formula, so the mass of the people can understand what data science is. It's needed in everyday life. Data literacy is one of the most important, domain as of now. You don't have to be a rocket science or computer scientist to be a data analyst. Anybody can do it as long as they have the thought leadership, the background in interdisciplinary science, right? So if you let me, I'll share my screen now. And thank you for this opportunity. We have a lot to learn from other states in India, like, the South, as well as Gujarat, how we can implement some of our expertise. And do the betterment for the betterment of our motherland. And with Dr. Modi's Atmanirbhar Bharat, I think, all these ideas will come into fusion. So the subject of my talk during the COVID-19 pandemic, with emphasis on healthcare analytics. And I'm presenting this to some artificial intelligence initiative platform, which is very nice. And in fact, I had met some people from the government of Gujarat. The GDP of Gujarat is like 10%, which is even better than Germany. And they were, interested in this Assam AI when I mentioned about that at a meeting in New York with the Consulate General of India. So currently I retired from AT&T, had a long career. I was trained by some of the best in the industry. One was Dr. Daryl Pregibone, who left AT&T to start the Google search engine. So I was training under him on data mining. That was like it was in 1998 when I started understanding more about data and the scientific way of looking at data. And I was trained as a professor, Dr. Deepak Chand Jain, who is one of the top data statistician, and he headed the Kellogg School of Management as well as INSEAD in Paris. He is from Tejpur and he got his master's from Guwahati University. So he trained me very well in the basics of statistics. And so you need the algebraic knowledge and the basis to do well. And that's not very hard to do. You don't need too many, differential equations, some of that, but not like trigonometry and all that. So anybody who has basic knowledge of 101 on math could do very well. I'm telling this because there are a lot of audience that might be thinking of careers. And also I was trained, my father, Dr. Jyoti Prasad Medhi, he was one of the mathematicians, statisticians that the Northeast India ever produced. He passed away in 2017. And so I wanted to be a doctor, but my dad said that we had so much books, in the house, who was going to read it? So I started taking statistics, and I'm here doing statistics in the healthcare domain, looking at doctors' note diagnosis in NLP, as well as predicting medication non-adherence, people why they are not taking the medication. So, as you know, in Assam, Ahar is very important. So I'm presenting a little, Assamese pita and some cake for you because we are meeting virtually. So there is no tea, no coffee, nothing, right? So in a nutshell, that's what I am. I'm a mother, a grandmother, and proud to be a girl who code. And because STEM education among women is very important. And so I have created a personal branding for myself in the United States, especially in the New Jersey, New York area. as a women data scientist, coming from the remote northeast corner of India. So what is data science? As you all know, but I'm just talking in general, big data are huge volumes of unorganized data. When you think about your smartphone, if you click your smartphone with your hand, more data is generated. So the world is overwhelmed with data. Some may be fake and some may be real. So we need to process this big data. And so machine learning and artificial intelligence are some of the techniques we used in data mining. As I told you, this economy is algorithm driven, AE economy. So knowing all this discipline, data mining is very important. So in a nutshell, data mining consists of, and machine learning consists of supervised classification, pattern recognition, clustering, and statistical technique all come together. So there are two kinds of machine learning. One is unsupervised and one is supervised. Unsupervised is like clustering, where you want to put same kind of people in one area, like people, if they think alike based on their demographics, you can cluster them. And some of the very useful methods of clustering are developed by famous Indian statistician Prasanta Chandra Mahalanobis, who started the Indian Statistical Institute in Calcutta. He was very well known, and there is a distance measure called the Mahalanobis distance. So if one customer is close to the other and few others, then you can make one cluster. Similarly, we make other clusters. So the algorithms are K-mean clustering, Mahalanobis distance, and so on and so forth. So as you know, Northeast India is close to Calcutta. Most of the statistical work in India is very well, recognized from people in Calcutta. And as I mentioned, Nobel laureate, respected Amartya Sen and Abhijit Banerjee, they all use statistics in their projects for poor economics. And then the supervised will be more into logistic regression, where basic need is to understand y equal to a plus bx, the algebraic equations, okay? And there are others like random forest, decision tree. And if you go into deep learning, it's more into neural networks and so on. I have the theoretical knowledge, but I will practice once I get to talk more on your forum. So data science and roles, how they interact. So here's the data engineer. Some are called data scientists. Some are called business stakeholders. So data science is a liaison between IT and business. From IT, we can get the data, whether it's cloud computing or whatever, but we have to bring and tell the story about the data to business. So here is the main, when you look at the Venn diagram, hypothesis development, monetization of data, governance, which is very important because of cyber security, all come together. So data engineer would be more of the data in computer science background. This could be MBA, economics, the business people. Here are the data scientists, which are mathematics, statistics, and so on and so forth. And what is big data? Big data, when we talk about, it's nothing, In statistics, big data is like when you have to find the sufficient statistics to make a prediction about the population. So big data could be reduced to sufficient statistics. And because of the volume, speed and velocity and complexity, we are getting data that's megabytes of data that need to be analyzed. We myself don't do it. It's generally the IT department of the company would harness it with like Hadoop clusters and so on, and data scientists get the clean data. I mean, not clean, but the manageable data to analyze. And generally, I use Python, SAS, which is a US-based proprietary software, and R programming to do the algorithms, which are the statistical algorithms or statistical models that go into the production within the system. So common application of AI ML, all of you know about it. Like how can we find detect a tumor, whether it's a self-driving car like Tesla. Elon Musk is it's the man of the year for 2021. So how Tesla uses, they use certain things like computer vision, algorithms, who's driving, looking at speed and all that. So, and then facial recognition. These are like fraud detection. These are important resources, where we can use it. And also maybe we can use it for climate change and looking at data from NOOA, which is the website for all kind of weather data across the world. So we have machines to do the work. As you can see, here is the robot, right? But they still need human. So our jobs are not obsolete. They need human to be thought leader, to train the machine with the data. And more data, we have better trained model, test the model, and then run it, put it into a robotic process automation so that the models can be run without any human interaction. So the beginning, how to gather the data, what data, cleaning up the data is 90% of the time. The model you can put in the Python code or SAS and it'll come up, but it has to be very precise. You have to look at all the accuracy of the data, precision recall, etc. if it is a logistic regression, and make sure the model has a proper way of predicting. And then you have to refresh the model every 6 months to look at it. So that models could be of any discipline, like time series, where you can use Holz-Winter method or random forest. It could be sales operations data that you're predicting that some customer might leave. In that case, we might be using like logistic regression. So the domain knowledge is very important. Which model applies to which, right? I'm going to put in the slide. Any questions so far? Hello?
Hello.
I think questions may be like put up in the YouTube channel and.
Okay, but can you hear me like properly? Is it going too fast or okay? Just picking a check.
It's perfect, ma'am.
This is okay. This is perfect. Yes.
Okay, so in order to be a thought leader, data science, they are very scarce right now across the world, even in US, and high demand. And I'm going to present the 7 habits of highly effective data scientists. Probably you know about Stephen Covey. He has a book and they talk about the 7 habits of highly effective people. But in the domain of statistics, I define the 7 habits and defining the objective. What you want to predict. For example, you want to predict language, understanding, or for call center, how people are talking, speech, or the script they write that we want to do NLP. Then gathering the data is the second. And preparing the data for modeling takes about 80% of the time because data is not clean. And as you know, data comes in different ways, structured and unstructured. So it will be numerical data, text data, image, speech, whole 9 yards. Then selecting and preparing the variable. Like I said, big data can be reduced to sufficient statistics to predict. So there we need a lot of techniques like variable reduction, so principal component analysis, factor analysis come into play. In my case at Telecom, we had like 2,000 variables, but using those processes, we were able to reduce to the 15 most important variable about a customer. And then processing and evaluating the model. You have to try it. It's an iterative process in the computer. You have to train the computer. That's why it's called machine learning and AI. Computer, if you put the wrong data, it'll give the wrong model, right? So as you see, Facebook and Tesla do not have very good AI ML models right now. But the algorithm developed at Amazon is amazing. They know what people want. As soon as you go to the site, you want to buy this, it'll give you different options. So they know they get the data from Google everywhere, as well as, and they use SAS in their marketing modeling because they want to keep it very proprietary. I've been to the Amazon office in New York City, and it's amazing. They know who needs what immediately comes up. And these are all based on algorithms, which are based on mathematics. Okay, this person, what's his need? It depends on their demographics, which area they come from, what time they go into the computer, login data when they want to do e-commerce shopping, and so on and so forth. So Amazon is the leader, behemoth in that. And they have their own AWS SageMaker and other modeling tools. And but Facebook is always being caught. The algorithms are not that correct, and Tesla the same thing. They promise a lot, and they are still backlogged in producing electric cars worldwide, right? Because they could not predict the demand for semiconductor, which is in shortage right now. So they did not have enough semiconductors, and without semiconductors, nothing will run in this world, not even medical equipment. So there's a shortage of that kind of thing, which is a supply chain I'll talk about. Then you validate your model by looking at accuracy and so on. And finally, you implement in the production environment. So what I gave generally to the production in CRM, which is customer relationship management, is the equation y equal to a plus bx, and make it a logarithmic and give it to them. Then the IT and other group implement it in the production system. So every time data comes in, they know what's going on with this customer. He's going to leave Verizon or stay with Verizon. So immediately the salespeople can go ahead and talk to them and offer them bundle. Bundled offer is very important. It's very hard to get new customer, but it's always good to keep the existing customer happy. So that was a marketing and sales kind of domain. So machine learning is a synergistic exercise between man and machine. So machine learning is practice requires human application of the scientific method and human communication skills. Successful organizations have the analytic infrastructure, expertise, and close collaboration between analytics and business matter experts. That's why I mentioned Amazon, and also the telecom company like AT&T and Verizon. They use them and they're doing great. There is no, problem with data and so on. Like for Facebook, they have been stealing data and putting into somewhere else and so on and so forth. But the algorithm developed by Telecom and Amazon are very secured and great. So at AT&T and Verizon, as well as pharmaceutical and healthcare, I envisioned approaches to develop a customer churn model. I'm just giving an example. Some key steps I followed are hypothesize the business critical question. So the top management will ask you, what can you tell me? Why is the customer leaving the company? If they leave, we will lose the revenue. We do not want any revenue erosion. Like the Brahmaputra, the land erosion, here we call it revenue erosion. So I have to develop some key performance indicators. Why, looking at customer, how long they have been with us, how many times they use the AT&T service or Verizon service. Document the market assumptions and constraint in time. So you also have to do a lot of research, market research. Data science is a dynamic field. You cannot have a degree and don't do any work on research. You have to learn constantly because constantly the Python codes are changing, the world is changing, the data is generated and so on. Then you have to write the spec to collect the data from various sources. So it's a written document which could be e-document, but you have to put in the company website. After you collect the data and merge various data sources, use R or SAS. That's what I used at that time. But right now, I'm also trying with predictive model using Python, because Python is the #1 language for data science right now. Unless the companies want to have the proprietary algorithm, they would not use Python. So recommended methodology was like for predictive modeling and prescriptive modeling was random forest, logistic regression, and dimensionality reduction using principal component. Why I'm calling prescriptive is like a doctor. You look at your data, you predict, that you'll have a heart attack or something, and then they'll give you the blood pressure medicine. Same way, we have to come up with data and insights and tell the company or the government organization or NGO what they need to do. So both comes together, predictive and prescriptive. Then develop the project timeline and get buy-in. You cannot say we'll do the model in 2 weeks. That's what most of the young people who just got graduate, they think, oh, I know coding, we'll do it. But they have no knowledge about the and culture of the company or business, or also about the domain. So generally, you put a timeline in 3 to 6 months. Research organization like AT&T, Bell Labs, we used to give like a long time, like 6 months to develop a model, because you want to model to be the robust and very good. So develop the best and robust ML model and present the deck to top management. In parallel, I document all the data mining and modeling process in a document called Project Brief. So it's all documented and it belongs to the company. And when time comes for your annual review or bonus, you have all your document, nothing in your mind. But don't give up too much information, because you do not want to, lose your job. And in US, that's what I'm saying. So keep some information, give some, make them hungry for data. They will come back to you. They will keep on coming back to you. So give in bit and pieces. That's what my dad used to say. He got his PhD from France, so he knows the European way. So dashboards in CRM show which customer make churn out, and then immediately e-auditing, sales, marketing can go and find out what to do next. So careers in data science. In data scientists enjoy a successful career in nearly every industry and sector in US, as well as rest of the world, including national security, business intelligence, law enforcement, which means policing. Like the police in New Jersey will catch a lot of people while speeding ticket, but it is biased to a certain, people like African American, blacks, Hispanic. So they have the demographics in the algorithm. That's how they pick people, which is not very good. It should be more, tickets given to white people also, but that doesn't happen. Financial and accounting, like KPMG, they will use machine learning for e-auditing. So a human doesn't have to go to the company to audit the company. Healthcare, disaster preparedness. We had very bad storms during this year, and we were not prepared. For example, Hurricane Ida. I lost my car to the flood because we live close to the river. It was in a car shop. So disaster preparedness needs to have algorithms, ML. And because of the climate change, we don't know. Well, I heard that it snowed in Shillong, Meghalaya yesterday, which is a very unknown thing, because I think it snowed 50 years ago when I was there, a young girl. So climate change is changing everything. Finance, government, public health. And right now, public health and healthcare is a top priority. The federal government remains a large employer of data scientists. For example, CIA hires data scientists to organize and interpret big data that is used to inform decisions, drive operations, and shape law enforcement and intelligence technology. The big names in search like Google, Yahoo, Bing are all big employers of data scientists. And like one of you said, Ms. Gogol, you are working with the Microsoft Institute in India. So all of these have offices in India, because India is a vast pool for skilled labor. So even if they cannot come to US, they have opened in India. It does. And in engineering, telecom, software, Intel, AT&T, Verizon, Boeing, Apple, everybody remain a big players in data science. So try to look for opportunities within India, because these big giants have offices in India. Even AT&T India is there in Bangalore. So I teach also beside my regular job, and try to balance being a grandma, mother, wife, and my career in data science. So I have a website, www.datalearning.center.com. But this is what I taught at the university. I'm still teaching. I just finished one course teaching data literacy to younger students, because they're promoting STEM education for high school students so that they can go to Ivy League colleges like Harvard, MIT, and so on. So my course that I taught at William Patterson University, the first university in New Jersey, named after the first governor of New Jersey. So I taught at the Business Analytics Master's Program. So any of you, if you are interested in coming to US as a student, maybe I can help you. I teach at the Kotsaka School of Business, which is a machine learning course. Most of it, like I'm just giving a gist of it. Introduction, then optimization technique, supervised, and do examples with some of the software, domain knowledge, big data, future analytics, machine, deep learning, and Python libraries and SAS. And reinforcement learning, which I'm getting, but I give the theoretical. And final thing is a Capstone project. If you look at Wikipedia, you'll find out what is a Capstone. This is for young people that are just finishing their masters or their degrees and want to be data scientists. You have to have a project. And there's data that's publicly available from github.com, like you have GitHub, from Johns Hopkins, CSSC, Computer Science Department, that you can download. So there is no data privacy issue. Also, you can look at US Census or World Bank database. You'll find data for India and everywhere. So if you have a project, you can take it to your next level if you want to get a promotion or get a job. So take your project with you, show them you did it, even if you didn't work for a company. So it's like an internship, and you can get hired or get the next level. So my work on COVID-related work has been published in endcoronavirus.org. I will send the deck to you later. It was also forwarded to CNN. The chief neurosurgeon was Indian, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. So I would say proud to be an Indian and from the Northeast Assam in America. We are well respected. We have a lot to do in Northeast India that we can compare ourselves with economies like in Gujarat. And I think there's a lot of opportunity between the two states, Gujarat and Assam, because Gujarat is not too much in IT. It's more in the south right now. So I think Gujarat could collaborate with Assam on certain of the AI initiatives. And then this work was on researchgate.com, where we publish as professor. Then there's the school opening guideline. If you look at it, you'll see what people have to do, to have safe schools. Because in New Jersey, schools closed again till January 18th because of the surge in Omicron virus. And here is the Indian website that we developed, which was a family thing. My brother, his son, my son. We did it. It's COVID-19 website for India. And we translated with some of the people from Assamese Wikipedia to Assamese. And somebody helped with Hindi. So I don't know if that will come up here. Let's see if it comes up. I'll show it to you. Yeah, I'll end soon. Tell me how we're doing on time.
Sishik,
Yes.
And then there's an article by my university, it's a press release. You can find it. So it's about 10:41. I'll have like 3 more minutes. Then we can open the floor for question and answer, right?
Okay, ma'am.
yes, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the COVID-19 project that was talking about, like Capstone. So you do this like with the end, you have to do an executive summary. So if you want to reopen the economy, there's a lot of things going on: supply chain disruption, deglobalization, regional opening. You know, most bankruptcy may occur in service industry like hotel, tourism, airlines, so on and so forth. And what public health needs to do. Community-based outreach program. That was the one I talked about, the endcoronavirus.org. In the informal discussion, I'll show that to you. And it was useful because Harvard presented that to UP and Uttarakhand. So people could read in Hindi and know what is going on with COVID. So they became more careful when the cleaning person comes to the house. And they wear their mask, and wash their hands. And that reduced the COVID numbers in UP. In the Assam is a different thing. We don't have too many international travelers. So our cases are low. But anyway, this one I want to show you the beginning of the pandemic. US, like we had 20 million, cases worldwide. And look at the situation today as of yesterday. Total death, 5 million. And the previous one was 745, less than a million. So what is going on? The world is so developed. There's so much computing power. There's so much biomedicine that has been developed in the last 50 years, but we're not getting the real world evidence. So I encourage you all to look at that and see where we can offer our AI ML expertise to improve the situation in the world and make a safer world. This is very discouraging right now, very sad. Europe, US, everywhere, and look at all these countries. All the G8 nations are in the top. India somehow controlled the Delta variant. So that's why I wanted to show about healthcare. So if we can have some disease model to kind of look at diabetes, which is epidemic in India, right? So COVID-19 pandemic impacting the key issues are life expectancy worldwide is reduced by about 2 years. People are living with disability after COVID-19 infection. The long COVID symptoms of 9 months is affecting quality of life. Quality of life is people cannot do certain things on their own. So have to be dependent. In US, we have a lot of facility for this disabled people, but in India, they do not. And there should be more advocates for doing that. There's economic downturn. The supply chain is unchanged. Food scarcity across the world, mental health issue that may linger for 10 more years, and online teaching is not a good idea for young kids as they need social interaction and physical activities. And if you look back 10 years, 2011, the world crossed a huge landmark as people started living longer after World War II with the introduction of penicillin and vaccines that prevented people from dying. But 10 years later, today, in 2021, we are seeing a reverse of that trend, which could be attributed to various variants of COVID-19 and other viruses like the Nipah virus that might come. And as you all know, the AIDS epidemic has been around for the last 40 years since I landed on the shores of America. So what's going on? There's biomedicine, but there's ample data that we can use. And I'm encouraging you to look at various aspects to improve the life of people. So as data scientists and AI ML experts, it is our duty to use data-driven strategies in healthcare. The world spent the last 50 years developing biomedicine. Now it is the time to test the real-world evidence and outcomes using interdisciplinary science, computer science, statistics, mathematics, economics, psychology, biology, virology, climate change, sustainability studies, and so on to make the world a safer place to live. So data for healthcare analytics, for example, in US comes in different shapes and form. Demographics, psychographic, geographic, clinical, health insurance claims, e-faxes, those are faxes that come from doctor's office, poverty level and eligibility for low income subsidy, images like, scan of the lung and so on, speech recognition, and I know Dr. Shishir from IIT Guwahati, who got his PhD from there, is doing a wonderful work on speech recognition. So we might have a presentation next month after, Bihu in January about that topic. Textual analytics, which is very important, and I think Ms. Gugoi is doing that, especially in different language. So linguistics is very important because you have to look at your data, break up into part of speech, then remove the propositions and other nouns, keep the pronouns to find out the final outcome of the bag of words, or n-grams they call it in computer science. And most importantly, social determinants of health. I know some of the NGOs in the National Health Survey of India, they're doing wonderful work because you have to look at people's housing instability, financial stress, proximity to pharmacy, why they are not taking medications, and also like credit rating. So this type of data will help us develop AIML predictive model for understanding disease progression. So let us look at like disease like diabetes or heart attack. In heart disease, those are chronic disease that can be maintained by looking at people, this kind of data, so that it doesn't lead to death or hospitalization, which is very expensive. And even that is like, we don't want to have that, right? And COVID people who are dying, they have this kind of underlying conditions. So I encourage you to look at the diabetes market in any form of shape in India, because it's a pandemic time, and diabetes is a crucial chronic disease where infections could come. And in US, we are seeing that healthcare and education across the world, as well as US, there's a lot of disparity. So this inequality has led to COVID-19 deaths. More deaths are in disadvantaged people, like the African American and Hispanics, because they do not have medical insurance. If you do not have insurance, you don't get the treatment like the other people do, because expensive treatment, as you know, intubation and other COVID medicines are very expensive, except the vaccines that is free to the people right now. So with this, I conclude my lecture. And you all heard from me as I shared my first-hand experience on how I built a career in data science in the last 3 decades and what it's like to work in the field today. I shared pieces of my advice and valuable lessons pulled from personal experience while learning data science and working both independently and within a larger team of data scientists. And here I am. So I will go back out to stop my presentation and go back to the forum.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful talk. And I'm sure, like, I really loved how it showed a very beautiful big picture of the whole scenario. And I think that is something we always miss out. Sorry, am I audible to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I think that was something that really was very useful for me, at least, because me being a non-expert in this area, it means a lot to come from an expert, like when someone explains you the bigger picture, because a lot of times when we have these talks, we focus on very specific narrowed down points and details, and which is also important, but sometimes it helps us to know the bigger picture. And this was very beautifully beautifully explained. And I think
Yeah, that's my training with AT&T, right? Big picture view. And that's why I didn't bring up any abstract, formulas on the presentation. I spent like 3 hours last night till like 12 p.m. working on
we are
it to
so glad.
make sure it's to explain everything in a layman's term, so people
Yes,
get engaged
and
and,
I think
participate.
all of us can see the effort, because no matter what background we are from, I think everyone is getting the most out of this talk. And that's that we are really thankful for that. And I think I'll let people ask questions here if anyone has anything. And I'm also able to access the chat, like the message, here in Google Meet. So if there is anyone who just wants to type it out here, then I can read the questions for them.
Yeah,
Or if anybody has
I
any.
would like to ask one question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Azhar.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
First of all, thank you, ma'am, for such an enlightening talk. Like,
Thank you.
obviously, yeah. Ma'am, like this question is related to something you presented in the beginning of your presentation. It was related. It was the 7 steps that you talked about, like
Mhm.
related to data science pipeline. So the last step was about maintaining the model that we had trained.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, maintaining the model, I assume it is like fine tuning it, or like retraining the whole model. So when do we actually do it?
Retraining, because data change, people's behavior change, right?
Okay, ma'am, like when do we exactly do it? When we have some error showing up,
No,
do we do some?
regularly at AT&T it will be every 6 months they update the model,
Okay, this is like we
retrain
anticipate
the
some
model.
okay, we anticipate some new conditions, and so we train it. That's
Yes,
how we.
yeah. Yeah. For
Exactly.
example, like for COVID, if you want to do a predictive model of COVID, like time series or something, you want to do it every 3 months because it's changing. So before winter, after winter, event, some kind of event.
Okay, ma'am, got that. Thank you, ma'am.
That is very important. You cannot use an old model all the time because people's behavior change. Everything changes, right?
Yes. Okay,
Yeah. So maintaining, monitoring the model performance is important, and also updating.
thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am, I have one question.
Yes.
As Pamir and Azhar said, like rightly said, like it is a very nice, motivating talk, and I especially feel like this talk is absolutely perfect for like those people who just started their data science career like me, Azhar, and like some of them like who was about to start their career in data science or machine learning. So it's very nice talk actually, like you give a right, big picture like what we can do and like what we can do for like people life or all those things. It's very nice. So ma'am, my question is that, like, first question, like if we want to do a data science project, for example, and let's say in healthcare, and most of the time whatever the real world problem we take, so most of the time we don't have data, so we need to collect the data from real world scenarios, and we need to collect the data, then process. So and processing after collecting the data, things are much more easier actually, like processing and then building the model. Easier in the sense like we spend, as you mentioned, like we spend around 80 to 90% of the time in data collection and then data cleaning, all those process.
Wrangling, cleansing, everything.
Yes. So my question is, ma'am, can you talk about the experiment design for data collection? Like how can you use statistics in analyzing those and in developing the database or the collecting the data? What kind of statistical analysis we can do, especially maybe for for healthcare analytics kind of data collection?
Yeah. So you have to keep in mind sample surveys, samples, right? And how do you collect the sample? Suppose if you want to look at stratified sampling. So if you look at US census data, for example, you want to stratify the data, that means segment it. So you want to look at the 5 big regions, right? Northeast, which includes New Jersey, Massachusetts, up all the way to New England. Then the Southwest, Southeast, so on and so forth. So that's called stratified random sampling. That's where you get your sample. So first thing is getting the sample, which could be customer name, ID, something, and then map up that with as a common identifier to merge with other data sets.
Okay.
And then you can also do systematic sample. Okay, I want to take every 10th person in the list instead of doing random.
Okay.
That's another way to sample it. After you sample, you have a unique identifier, the name of a person or some kind of customer or person ID. Whether it's a patient, it will be de-identified because there is a law called HIPAA law, which is health data cannot be shared. So they de-identified and give it the customer name with like a 10-digit number, 154321. That might mean it's Shakuntala Choudhury. Another one maybe for you like that, right? And then when you merge the data, we give that input file to various organizations and they will merge the data to that and find the data for that. Demographic, which could be including age, gender, race, so on and so forth. Then psychographic could be, there are some other data. Geographic, I said different region, the stratification. Then they will either give it that or, so they'll give you different chunks of data. It's not a whole data set. Then you have to merge it either in Python or SAS with the merge statement. But the input file has to have those customer ID that you send to different organizations within your group, right? And but I can tell you for healthcare, on my thesis, I've used a very good source. It's called the National Health Survey of India, funded by Bill Gates Foundation. All the data is available at macro level, not at individual level, but macro level, like state level, under the World Bank database. So I got the data from US only. It's not sitting in India. I don't know if India has that much data, where you can buy or, share data publicly. You can look into it, but I can give you some idea about healthcare from the National Health Survey and other NGOs that are doing it.
Okay.
Because we need to have these models with different languages, like Pamir said, for Northeast India, all these AI/ML models, whether it's speech, text analytics, or numbering, which is like forecasting the infection rate or so on and so forth. So we can look into it. But the first source is the World Bank. They keep data from all over the world. And National Health Survey was done every few years. I don't know if they do it now, but until 2010, 14, I used to look at it. Have you heard about that National Health Survey?
Yes, but I didn't go through. So we will do that.
That's a good source. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So first thing you have to identify your customer or whatever with that list. Then go to different organization to get the data.
Okay.
And then merge yourself. Then there's a lot of work. Data is a different way. Like for example, the revenue may be 0, a revenue may be 7,000. So there's a big data range, right? When you look at measure of central tendency in statistics. So that way you have to convert that one to a 0-1, like normalize the data. Those are the steps, the 80% of the time. That only data scientists can do it. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Appreciate,
Ma'am, we have 2 questions, ma'am, actually in YouTube channel. So Pamir will actually speak that.
I can't see the YouTube channel chat, Sishir. Can
Yeah,
you?
I also cannot see anything.
Yeah. It's.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
ma'am. So I have one of the questions. So I'll
Okay,
speak it
okay.
here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that will be great. Thank you.
we're from
Okay,
London,
ma'am.
right? Hridoy.
Yeah, Vidya.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. So, ma'am, in one of the slides, you have mentioned that machine learning is a synergistic exercise between man and machine.
Mm.
But in recent times, you might have come across techniques like adversarial machine learning, where the malicious attacks are being created. So, how does this kind of techniques actually affect the synergy between man and machine? So that was my
So
question.
in cybersecurity, right?
Kind of, ma'am. Yeah.
A kind of cybersecurity, because in cybersecurity, it may not be a model like a predictive model using logistic or so on. It will be more like looking at, you know, when looking at log data, when does a cyber attacker logs into the system, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay, there
Thank
was
you.
a question that popped up here, but you
Yeah.
have to look at the mean and also the sigma, the variance. So if it is more than 3 sigma, that means it is an attacker. Okay,
Okay.
because they don't look like rest of the people. So
Okay.
lesser the deviation, it's better. It's like a common people logging in, you know. But if you see attacker who has a 3 sigma, it's called Microsoft uses those, and even Verizon. So they
Oh,
look at mainly on mean and variance, sigma.
okay.
So if the standard deviation is very big, that means that person is attacker. Doesn't look like the common people. So these are like clustering technique, unsupervised learning.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you.
talking on the view from basically from economist and statistician. So computer scientists or physicists have a different view of data science. But
Yeah,
everywhere they need the mathematical reasoning, right?
exactly.
Thank you. There was a question that popped up on the screen. For me, is that somebody from YouTube?
Yes,
No,
yes,
I saw the. I can read out the question here.
yes,
Okay.
yes. Ramya.
Yeah, so the question is, it's from Himanta Barua, and he's asking, what is the source of big data analytics on COVID-19 data? Are you also working on social media kind data?
Okay,
So,
the source of big data right now is GitHub. Should I type it up here somewhere on the chat?
yes, I think you can type it up.
Hemanta Burwa, right? Yeah,
Yes.
okay. So big data that can be publicly used without any legal issue. Okay, those are
Mhm.
from GitHub. You already are there, github.com. I'll say comma, right? And secondly, kaggle.com, which is a repository from Google. World
Yes, sir.
Bank. World Bank. And US collects a lot of data for across the world. So you can get that to World Bank, US Census. And CMS.gov, which is for US, Medicare, Medicaid service. So big data you can collect from github.com. Kaggle is a repository. You have to open an account, which is free to get tap, and then you can look at your interest. World Bank has free data, US Census, CMS.gov, and so on and so forth. Because you cannot go into, I don't use social media data at all right now because I'm not looking at testimonials. Especially Facebook data is not that great. There's a lot of fake data there. If you want to look at social media data, there's a package called socialhearing.com. You have to open an account on socialbearing.com, and you can put your whatever you want to put word, and you'll see how many people liked it, how many people went and talked about in social media like Twitter, Facebook, so and so forth. So I don't directly go to LinkedIn or Facebook. I look at them because sometimes it's very important to look at this customer testimonial to understand the market or understand the need for COVID data or what kind of models people are looking for. If you look at like covidsupport.com, you can see a lot of people are like very mentally stressed. So that's the area that we need to develop, in case of medication. There's pain, a lot of pain from COVID infection in it. So I'm looking at like for my company, looking at pain medication and also drug opioid overdose, because opioid use is being medically used for reducing pain right now in US, but it's becoming an overdose. So I'm looking at those data points. I cannot say much because of the non-disclosure from my employer, but these are the various sources that you can look at. So social media data, I'm looking through this socialbearing.com. And when you type in your name, for example, you'll see how many likes came from Twitter, how many likes about your comments came from LinkedIn, and so on and so forth. So I go to a third party to look at social media. And I read the social media posts so that I can think how to storytell the data. Thank you, Hemanta.
Thank you. I think this is the end of the questions. And maybe if someone has more questions, we can take it over email or something like that for later. And
we are ending now, or do you want me to show the COVID-19 piece for India that we developed, which I didn't show yet? Let me show that for 2 minutes. We're running out of time, right?
No, it's for us. I think it's fine. And if anyone has anything like that they have to urgently attend, we still have it recorded. So feel free. But it will be great if ma'am can show us.
So you can get ready for your Christmas party tomorrow. What to do?
Yes,
because we have
definitely.
to meet people. We are social people. We are becoming so introvert.
Yes, we
That's
shouldn't
why
get used to this.
Yeah, this is the world. Oh my God. They don't even know what's going to happen. Even in Israel, they're giving the fourth dose now.
Yes,
and the third dose. It's such a I took my son yesterday. Couldn't get his because there's no availability. There's so many people that took it. So that is the booster. Even if they say booster is there, but too many people, not enough supply. So they ran out of the vaccine. So my son couldn't get it. I had my third dose because I'm older, but the younger kids are starting to get now. And Israel has the fourth dose. Because the Omicron virus will stay, and now the new Nipah virus and all those are coming. Oh my God.
Yes.
And this is all happening because, cutting down trees, deforestation is a big impact on animals. And so the diseases are moving from animal to man. Especially Baduli. Be careful of bats,
Hi.
I will stop. Did we stop recording? Because I'm just talking informally.
Okay, ma'am, we can stop. Yes, we can stop.
No,
and then,
no, that's okay.
We can have.
We can have, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because then we will have the website saved in the recording.
Oh yeah,
you can show the website.
Yeah, let me. If you have a few minutes, because it's night time in India, time for your dinner. But if you have a few minutes, I can show that, and then we'll have an informal time.
Yes.
Okay.
I personally will love that.
Yeah, if you have time, I have time because we got a day off today. So can go anywhere. Yes. I did my shopping beforehand before the COVID surge. Everything thanks to Amazon. Everything I'm doing through Amazon, but I can't find an Assamese movie to watch.
Oh,
hold on. Okay, let me get that website. I think the diabetes epidemic also is going on in Assam, right? A lot of people
Yes,
have
ma'am.
diabetes, and that is causing other conditions. Okay, one moment. Okay, I shall share my screen. Thanks for your patience. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can see
Yeah,
this.
this is from the, I felt very good because the public relations American people told me to write, she interviewed me and put this page about a year ago, 23rd of December 2020, and we're still fighting COVID. So it's very sad, right?
Yes,
But one thing is good. We learned a lot of things, togetherness, to
that
stay
is
with
true.
family. You know, cooking is another thing that's happening. Young people don't cook. Even Assamese girls don't cook, but now they have to cook.
Yes, that is true.
Togetherness, family time. Kids are getting time with parents because of online, but little kids cannot learn. They need the interaction. So this is the website for people living in India. COVID-19 in India. We did this in Python. Now it automatically uploads. It takes data from World Ometer, John Hopkins, and other places. Okay. I worked with Harvard people. He was a physicist. Physicists people are very good of thinking about the philosophy, what to do. So physics and data science also go together sometimes. Which states and union territories do best in beating COVID-19? So these are the winning, like it has to be a bell-shaped curve, normal distribution is nearly there, and this needs action. So COVID in India, which states and union territories do best in COVID, right? So you'll see all, it's down now everywhere. But at this point, it was very high. That's when UP and other states kind of looked at this. But I tried to push for people in Assam, but nobody does anything to market their own people. That is a bad thing about Assamese people. Even Bhupen Hazarika was, you know, kind of inspired and motivated by Bengali people and Calcutta diaspora, right? So if I had presented these people should have gotten it, but they don't even look at even my families. So here it is October now December. So this will keep on updating next year also. Then
This
pardon me, Assam is here. See, look at the peak, the July, August, now it's down. But it could go up because of the Omicron. And this is a live website that Harvard is maintaining, Nexi, okay? And I did my part as a
Okay.
thought leader in data science to gather the data, and then it's a team effort. You have to do team. So reading and then these actions, what do we need to do? Act quickly. Don't wait for more data result from complicated model. Just act. Isolate away from home, strict travel restrictions. So no traveling from Guwahati to Sibsagar, so on and so forth. Massive amount of testing. Clean air is important. So sometimes I keep the window open, although it is like sub-zero temperature, because the fresh air comes in. And continue practicing social distancing. Is very hard to do in India because of people. It's densely populated. Population density is a very good predictor of the COVID infection. Be patient. Don't reopen early. Stay calm and composed. Implement tracing and so on and so forth. So you can look at it. I just want to show it in Assamese and Bengali, Hindi, because I feel proud that I did this. And I got a lot of laurels from Americans in America that I'm doing something for India. Because India and US relationship is growing better and
Yes.
better.
And we want to thank you for this from the bottom of our heart for doing
And
this.
this is Assam.
I can
Bharatbharsh.
totally see that. I might have had more questions about this part actually.
No, but I would like you to, if you can kind of take this to the grassroots level and promote within the mass.
Yes, I will
Northeast
be very
India,
happy because
they
even
can understand the
outside India-
difficulty faced by and what measures to take, the social distance, the masking, clean air,
Yes.
not gather inside too many people. So Hindi, because most like Nagaland, Mizoram, they all know Hindi, even
Yes.
now, and Nagamis is Assamese.
Mm.
So I feel very proud because I got very good, recommendation from this gentleman. I'll put his name here. He's a pandemic expert at Harvard and MIT.
Mhm.
And he kept on telling Shakuntala, Choudhury, can you please promote this in India? Your Assam is going up. Because he looks at that map all the time. But there's nobody in Assam to understand this. They talk of Hindi cinema, movie, this and that, a lot of like
Yes.
Silpi Sewa going on where people sing and we have to listen and pay like $45. That is not meant for that. I would like you to take it to the next level if you can. Sishir and Pamir.
Yes.
And this is the person that, inspired me. He's an Israeli American Jewish. Jewish people
This
are
is
very
really- I will also
respectable
take
of
this now.
India. And he has contact in Himachal, like Dr. Raina, who comes to the World Health Network meetings. So Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, UP practice that, looking at the Hindi website, okay? In
Yes.
Assam, I want you to take to next level because COVID
Yes.
is not done. Omicron already killed 2 people in New Jersey yesterday. So it is also very scary, right? So he is a COVID expert, like a pandemic expert. You can read about him you can write it down.
Yes,
So
I
if you
have
can
already
kindly
taken
take this
down
to the
his
next
name.
level,
Yes,
that I have
Sishir
done
and I will
something
have
for my
a
land of
meeting.
Assam.
Yes, we will have a meeting and decide what we can do about it.
Yeah. And if you need help with getting, let me go back to the. So,
Okay.
it's a win-win situation. This country has given me a lot. So I gave them back, and they want to look at India because India is a big trading partner within us in US, right? So this in English version was very helpful to Americans. But I'd like to get other people educated on COVID because I don't want people to be killed. We have a lot of knowledge we lost, in India and across the world, academics that got COVID. So if we can take one disease like diabetes, that's a pandemic,
Yeah.
gather data, do different aspect of it, like speech, computer
Correct.
vision, whatever,
And I think this pandemic is a perfect example of something which tells you can help yourself by helping others. It's something that you have
And
to.
it feels good. It feels very good
It
because,
feels very good, yeah.
and that reminds me of Khuddakant Bhupen Hajorika, মানুহে মানুহৰ বাবে
হয়,
যদিও
হয়।
অকণো নাভাবে ভাবিবই লাগিব আমি যদিও আমেৰিকাত আছো সদায় অসম মনত পৰি থাকে
হয়।
অসমীয়া
আপুনি
মানে
মেখেলা চাদৰো পিন্ধি আছে যেন দেখিছো।
মেখেলা চাদৰ পিন্ধি আছো এইটো নুনি
ভাল
কটন
লাগিছে
কি
মোৰ।
কটন
বিৰাট ভাল লাগিছে দেখি। পিছে
কোনোবাই
ঠাণ্ডা
দিছিলে
ঠাণ্ডা
আৰু
নহয়।
এইটো মোৰ জোৰোণৰ হেৰি পিন্ধি আছো কাণৰটো
We feel very
Okay,
honored
okay.
and special.
ন ঘৰত থাকিলেও
Okay.
সদায় ভালকে
feels
থাকিব
very
লাগে
honored.
ঘৰত থাকিলেও
Okay,
মানে
ma'am, I think-
পেণ্ডেমিকত
I think
we should
like we'll stop
stop the
streaming
recording.
here.
Yeah, please stop
Yeah,
the
yeah,
recording.
I think. Yeah. Okay, fine.
ন ঘৰত থাকিলেও ভালকে থাকিব লাগে
Sasank,
মনটো
you can
ভালে
have it.
ৰাখিব লাগে
হয় মোৰ মায়ে
মই
সদায়